Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Shining Through Your Words series, proudly brought to you by Write and Shine Media House. My name is Magriet Potgieter. I'm your host, and I'm absolutely ecstatic about our next guest that has joined me. Please, will you introduce yourself to all of us?
Thank you so much for having me, Margita, and I'm so happy to share, my book with you and your audience. And so, who I am, and my name is Cornelia Kawann. And from my background, I'm an electrical engineer, and for quite some time, I've been working in the science and in the energy industry. And and now I'm a personal energy strategist, and because there are so many similarities between electric energy on one side and our personal energy, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm showing, especially busy women, because from my point of view, women with all their obligations, like for their job, their kids, their families, their aging parents, the communities, they don't even have the choice to not manage their energy. So for me, energy management is the new time management because it's so much more powerful, and it's supporting everybody who's using it in reaching their goals and making impact in the world. That's why I'm here.
I love it so much, Cornelia. And you can see I'm just grinning the whole time because it's something that I'm very passionate about. You know, being a single mom myself, having my own business, I've really learned exactly what you're saying, that if you can basically manage your energy, there's something incredibly powerful in that. So, I'm just going to kick off to ask you, how on earth did this theme find you? Because I do believe our purpose finds us. We don't find our purpose.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's so true. You know how electric energy found me. That was pretty early actually, and that was when I was 4 years old. And I was always so impressed, when my mom plugged in the mixer or the vacuum cleaner, and then all of a sudden, like, magic happened, and these things were so powerful. And I thought, what is behind this socket that's so powerful? So, and then one day or one afternoon, I found, do I have it here? Yeah, I have it here. This one outside. So I thought, wow, now I can test and try out what's in this socket. So I took this nail and sneaked into my room and did something I wouldn't recommend anybody doing. I kind of pushed it into the socket. And I was so lucky that, like, the security system was much faster than everything. So it kind of threw me back into the room. And then the next thing I remember was that my mom was bending over me and completely worried. What's going on? And that just kind of enlightened me, that I thought, now I really want to know how this thing gets into the socket. And that's why I studied electrical engineering. And now I can tell you, now I know how the current gets into the socket. And for a very long time, energy was only electric energy for me. But then, as you said, the kind of the purpose finds you, and then I got really very very sick. It was just too much pressure in a very male-dominated industry, and I always had to prove myself, and so then I kind of was, as you're saying, kind of running out of energy. And then they outlined the traditional medicine, this path they outlined to me, something I felt deep in my inside. This is not the way I need to go. And as an engineer, I thought, there are always more solutions to one problem. So I just need to find other solutions. And that's when I kind of started my journey and my way, and I did research, read so many books, and then kind of it was naturally that I ended up in the quantum field and with quantum science. And the idea, like, in a nutshell, everything is just energy. That kind of, wow, that's my world, right? Because I know what energy is, I know what the frequency is, and applying this to not only like everything that is around, but also everything that is in our inside, like every belief, every thought, every emotion. It's just a frequency. And that made my life so much easier. And then I started experimenting with it and working on it. And then, like, yeah, you know this, then people started noticing. They said, oh, what are you doing? Can you show me as well? And that's how I got started and showed others as well. And it worked for them even better.
That's amazing. And Cornelia, something you mentioned is, especially in a male dominant type of industry, it was like you always had to prove yourself. And it's exhausting if you're in that energy. And I do
Exactly.
think, if you almost for people who this isn't a well-known type, I think it should be a subject in school, but okay, that's my opinion.
I
Because
support you on this.
it is the inner work that really at the end of the day, because when you operate from a space of worthiness and energy is not like cheerleader, people might think it's like almost being an adrenaline and this energizer bunny type of vibes, but it's not. Energy is, and that's almost what I want to ask you. What words would you, use to explain in what type of frequency the ideal is to live in and to work in?
Oh, that's a very good question. But in my world, there is not just one energy. And so the way how I see it, and that might now be a little bit more kind of scientific, but I hope it's okay for you and your audience. But in my world is we are kind of born with our unique special frequency. And then during, like, especially when you're a kid, other frequencies were put on top of your really unique frequency, like beliefs and thoughts and events, things that happen to you. And by the age by the age of 18, you kind of forgot about your real frequency, and the frequency you're vibrating on, you think this is you, but it's not. So I always ask the question, you're not who you think you are, but because we just assume that's us. And what I see with personal energy work is, on one side, to show people how they can easily remove these additional frequencies. And it's not about like a mindset. Mindset work is a lot about overwriting. You have this limiting belief and you put another one on top of it. But for me, it's much more sustainable to find out, why is this limiting belief in my life in the first place, and remove that, right? And then everything that's connected with it goes away at the same time. So it's not about becoming somebody else, but it's more about becoming your real you, your real frequency. And I think this is something, and this is a journey. And of course, and coming back to your questions, I think we are having different frequencies at the same time, right? And what I've noticed is that, like, really, like shame or guilt, that are emotions that have very low frequencies, right? And when you have a lot of guilt and shame somewhere stored in your system, then of course your overall frequency is quite low. What you can do, and what many people are doing, is to raise their frequency when they're meditating, or you're doing things they really enjoy, or going to the gym, or being in nature. But the thing is, what I've noticed is this is only temporary. And because whenever then you're back in your normal, you fall back to your normal frequency. So what I think is much more, and that's why also people, invented walking meditation to kind of keep this high frequency level also in your daily life. But what I think is so much more sustainable is to really remove these low frequencies, and that's when you're raising your energy and your frequency in total, right? And then it's not an effort to keep it high, because then it's on a higher level naturally. And I think that's the goal. And I also that's what I also pointed out in my book. Most people are only working on their physical energy, because this is kind of the most fundamental one, because I've learned on my own, if your physical energy is low, then you can have all the time in the world, but you just can't enjoy it because you're exhausted and tired. And that's why people working on that, like with well eating, exercising, sleeping. But there is so much more to this. There is there are 5 levels of energy. You have also the energetic energy, then the emotional, the mental, and also the spiritual energy. And I know most people kind of will roll their eyes just by mentioning spiritual energy. And of course, you can also call it some different ways. But what for me is the spiritual energy is, it's knowing your why. Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? And are you really kind of enjoying what you're doing? And you really kind of found your purpose or your mission. You intrinsically, you will generate so much energy yourself just by doing what you really love doing, that you're kind of your own power plant. And that's, for me, like, the spiritual energy is the most essential one, because it naturally gives you energy.
I love that. And you mentioned that, your purpose found you when you were 4 years old. And I really believe that's how we should live our lives is, what's that saying, like a 4-year-old child with a Batman suit on. Because then we're unstoppable. There's no lies of things you can't do it, So, and that really brings me to my next question, Cornelia. A lot of people live in the past or even in the future. Like if you think of, going through tough times, or you went through a traumatic event, or you're wanting better, but you're not truly in the present moment. And I do believe that's where the energy really is, in the frequency as well, in the now. What would you suggest our listeners to do to really become more present and more, I would say, almost tuned in to their own frequency?
Oh, well, that's a very powerful question. And of course, I know that the king or the master of being in the present moment is Eckhart Tolle, right? Because with his book. And I'm still working on it, I have to admit. But what I've noticed is, for me, it's kind of a mixture of all. Because I've learned for me, I can be much more in the present moment when I let go old stuff, right? And it's also important that you have some plans as well. So it's more a flow, right? It's about, you are here in the present moment, and you want to be somewhere else in some time, right? So in a way, it's for me, it's what do I need to let go from my past to become or to be that person that can hold that goal I want to achieve energetically. Yes. So it's more kind of a transformation. That's how I see it. And to answer your question, to be more in the present moment, what I've noticed with my energy work is, because I kind of do it now already automatically. It's not that I sit down and say, okay, let's do some energy management. It's more on the spot. And you always have all the tools with you. You can do it everywhere. And like one example is, I'm in the cooking in the kitchen cooking, and one of my daughters come in, and then she wants something or say something, and then for some reason I get angry. And then what I would do in that moment, I would kind of step out of the situation and say, why I'm getting angry right now, right? Because it's not normal. She just said this, and it actually, so it has something to do with me. And so then I can just, look into my energy and find out what's the real reason why I'm angry right now. And then I can remove it on the spot and heal that. And then I can just kind of continue cooking. And it's more about being more in the present moment. It's just you get with personal energy management, you get more and more resilient in a way that less and less things are triggering you, and you're more in an observer status. And I think being an observer is more about being in the present moment. At least that's my definition.
Now, I love that, Cornelia, and thank you for the example. It helps so much. And, one of my last questions to you is, who is your ideal reader? For who did you write this book?
Oh, this is so easy to answer. It's for all the women that need energy to make an impact in the world, because there are so many outstanding, amazing women out there, and they have so many obligations, so many things to do. And with this book, I can show them how they can have the energy they need to make an impact and to live the life they want to live. And for me, it's in a way, it's so important that, so on one side it's more about raising your frequencies, but the big part of the book is also about, with very short exercises, how you can have more energy in your life, or how you can work with you manage your energy during the day, like just recharge your energy in the morning, like, and or you can even set energetic boundaries, when you're in the office, or you can protect your energy, you can clean your energy. So there are so many exercises that you can use them on the spot, because what I noticed is that most of the time when you need energy or when you need support, you need it in that moment. And in that moment, most of the time, at least me, I don't have the time to sit down for 20 minutes meditation, which of course would be very helpful as well. So all my exercises are kind of no longer than 3 minutes. You can apply them wherever you are, even when I'm in the office. I go to the restroom and also recharge my energy. And I can tell you, my colleagues probably were wondering for years, what is she doing in this restroom? She gets there like normal, and then she comes out all sparkling, full of energy, ready for the next meeting. And that's why what my book is about. It's hands-on, it's there, it supports you in that moment when you need it.
That's amazing. And last question, Cornelia. If there's anyone contemplating, like they're sitting here thinking, that might not apply to me, what advice would you give them? How to start really tapping into their own energy? Is there any exercises you can recommend for them to see the difference, just like you mentioned now with your bathroom routine?
I think this is an exercise that works with everybody. And, there is no person it doesn't work, because, if you go back to physics, right, we are just 99% energy, right? And we have this electromagnetic field around us, because we have like millivolts between our cell nucleus and the cell membrane. And a healthy cell has minus 70 millivolt between the cell, the nucleus, and the membrane. And this is a healthy cell. If you have a cancer cell, it only has minus 10. So we have millivolts in our body. And our communication, our brain, it communicates with all our limbs and organs. How is this happening? It's with little mini currents with milliamperes. So we have millivolts and millicurrents in our system, which results, with pure physics, in an electromagnetic field. Every phone, every computer, every lamp has an electromagnetic field around it. And we believe it because we were told in our physics class. So why is it so difficult to understand that if all electric devices have an electromagnetic field, we are an electric device as well. We are a walking battery. And we have this electromagnetic field around us. It's just there. We don't see it around our phone, and we don't see it around us. And so we all have this electromagnetic field around us. Otherwise, we are not operating. And so there is no person without this electromagnetic field. And if you have it, you can also manage it. So there is no person out there who cannot manage their own an electromagnetic field. It's natural to us. We just kind of forgot about it because we were trained. We all grew up in the world of Newton saying, whatever, if you don't see it, if you can't touch it, and if you can't measure it, it just doesn't exist. But we all believe in an electromagnetic field around the phone. Because you can measure it, and actually you can also measure the electromagnetic field around us. So there are lots of exercises doing. I haven't met anybody with whom these exercises didn't work. So once you at the beginning, maybe you're a little bit scared or maybe unsure, insecure. But if you start practicing, you will feel the difference immediately. Even if you don't believe in it, if you don't trust it, they work.
Now that's amazing. I must admit, like even me, if I look at the personal, experience I'm going through, my son is matriculating. He's busy with his final exams and he's moving out. And it's really, I think a few years ago, if we went through this transformation, I would have totally went on emotions, trying to keep him back. Almost, it's very interesting to explain this because energetically now it's like I realize it's still sad. It's still sad for me. So I'm going through the emotions, but energetically I know I'm already like I'm helping him set up his new place. He's moving out in a month, so I still choke up. It's not emotionally easy, but I know energetically that we have to keep momentum. We can't stagnate. And it's just such a different perspective if you look at massive life events, because I do think, Cornelia, if I wasn't really energetically like just intertwined with what's happening or, mindful to the energetics to this could have been a totally different experience for both my son and myself.
That's what I'm saying. It's so powerful and it's empowering because you don't feel helpless or, you just like a victim. No, you feel like in the driver's seat and have your tools. It's okay to be sad, but you have your tools to get out of it very quickly and yeah, and open yourself up for so many other things. And that's what I noticed also with my clients is like with low energy, you're kind of more in survival mode. You only see like your to-do list, what you must do. Everything is like gray and every day is the same. And if you have so much more energy, you see so many solutions and opportunities because you have the energy to execute them. That's why you see them, right? And that makes you makes you life perceive so much easier because there are solutions, there are opportunities, and you can handle it. And this feeling makes you so strong and powerful.
I love that so much. If anyone wants to reach out to you, how can they find you? I will post your links as well, but what is the easiest way to get in touch with you?
I think the easiest way is on my homepage because there's all information and it's just Cornelia Kawann, so my first name and my last name in one word.com. And there you find also, positive, free gifts like energetic stress management you can download, or all the other social media where you can find me, and also how you can work with me with one-to-one or my 4 months mastermind that just starting in end of November.
That's so exciting, Cornelia. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And you brought a totally different perspective to The Shining, the right and shining with your energetic.
Yeah, all the sparkle to you and your audience.
Thank you so much. I hope to be seeing you in future year again to invite you back for a follow-up and all the best for your mastermind and all the incredible work that you do.
Thank you so much, Magriet, for having this podcast and giving us the floor and the space to shine. And I congratulate you really to your amazing audience that are supporting you and following you and your exchanges with all these amazing authors that are out there. Thank you so much.
It's such an honor, Cornelia. And for you tuned in, what a wonderful author. Wonderful, just way for her to also educate us on something that I really believe is the new time management. It is energy management. Please reach out to Cornelia if this resonated, or buy a book and support her. And for you is writing your book, keep on writing and keep on shining.
Definitely, yeah. Energy on.
Just watch me shine.